Welcome to Zach and Steve Have a Podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Steve.
We're coming to you on a Tuesday.
It is Tuesday.
We actually are recording on a Tuesday.
We are. It's a Tuesday episode on a Tuesday, recorded on a Tuesday because I was sick.
You can still tell a little bit
on
in your
Friday.
voice.
Yeah, I'm still not feeling well. Sarah and I made a video today.
Yeah.
And we're both sick.
Ah.
Sarah's actually she's where I was at a couple days ago.
Nice.
But being that she's Sarah, she's doing a lot better.
Ah, makes sense.
Yeah.
She takes illness a lot better than you do.
Yes. Oh, I think I would say in general.
Yeah.
Women take sickness better than men.
I would say you're probably right.
I would say 99% of the time.
They're tougher than us.
They are. But Sarah, yeah, so we were looking at ourselves in the video, and we're like, oh, man, we both look sick. So anyway, yeah, I'm still, you're going to hear it in my voice a little bit, but Friday I barely had a voice.
Yeah, you couldn't talk at all.
It was Saturday I had somewhat of a voice. Sunday it was gone again. It's been up and down, but I'm finally feeling like I'm back in the saddle.
So what's it like to be someone who talks for a living and can't talk?
I would say
you feel like you've been muffled and you can't get your voice out to the world.
I would say it's probably a blessing for those around me. I would have to imagine that everyone around me was like, oh, thank you, Jesus. Like, this is what we've been praying for years. Like, Steve's quiet.
That's not true at all.
But no, it was a bummer because I had to miss my class that I teach that I'm very passionate about, which is our service class. And I love teaching that because my heart is in service. I love being a servant, and I love teaching people why it's important to serve and what that does for others and what it means to God. And actually, what we're getting into today really encompasses that too. We'll get to that in a little bit though. But go ahead, Zach.
So,
did you just have a brain lapse?
No, I was going to go somewhere, but you made me think of something.
Yes.
We're talking about our illness.
Yes. Our illness?
Our illness.
This is our collective illness?
Yeah, because I'm starting to get it as
well.
And I
came over your house on Saturday.
Well, everybody came to my house on Saturday.
Well, yeah.
We had an event.
We had the event at your house, and I made an attempt to cough on everything.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Everything that I came in contact with, I coughed on. But go ahead.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I did that because I wanted you guys just to get over the hump.
Yeah.
Right?
You just want us to experience what you're experiencing.
It's not. I just don't want it to be like this prolonged wonder of when are we going to get sick. It's just like,
let's just get it over with.
We're definitely going to get sick.
Well, here's the thing. I've realized the older you get, the more you talk about your illnesses. I can remember
100%.
when I was younger, I would hate going over to my grandma's house because all she would talk about was this thing that she had on her arm, or this sick. She was sick for this. She was sick for that. And I'm like, we're gonna go to grandma's. All she can talk about is all the sickness she's got. So now we have a podcast and a medium where we can reach our students, and all we talk about is how sick we are all the time.
Deterioration of our body.
Yes,
I think it's the awareness that you come to, I think, right around 40 is when you really start circling the drain. And it's a drain circle that lasts for about 25 to 40 years at that point. Yeah,
it depends.
Unless your grandpa Ken, and he is 96 and I think in better shape than we are.
I think he is.
I think the two of us collectively are in poorer condition than your grandpa is at 96. But anyway, yeah. Good point, Zach. Good point.
Thanks, Stevie.
Yeah, so what you got for us?
So I got a little bit of a game. We haven't done a game in a while.
We haven't.
So the cool thing about being a new season is we can maybe pull a game we did it in season 1, and we haven't done it for a while.
Season 1, we're treating season 1 like it's
its own entity.
A whole year ago.
It was.
I think this last time we did this game was probably 3 or 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I'd have to imagine.
This game is called Who's Done It More?
Who's Done It More?
Very easy game. I'm going to ask a question.
Okay.
I'm going to count to 3.
1, 2, 3.
And then we have to say either Zach or Steve.
Yes.
Who has done this activity more?
I feel like, once again, I think I said this the last time we did this, you do this in a leading fashion. Like, you already know what the answer is going to be.
Yes, I create the questions, and I could definitely do that, but I would not do that.
You're saying you're being completely objective.
Yes, because what I pick the questions for is more what we can talk about after.
Okay.
So, like, something that might lead towards a funny conversation.
It's a jumping off.
Yes, that's what these questions are.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right, Zach.
All right.
Lights down.
Music on. We got music. Woo! Right, ready? I'm going to snap my fingers and the music's going to turn on. Ready? 1, 2, 3. There it is. Look at that. That's amazing. Okay. Who's done it more?
Yes.
Started a fire.
Go ahead.
3, 2, 1. Steve.
Yeah. I've started so many fires. I almost burnt down my dad's
I'm not talking
workshop.
like metaphorical fires. I'm
No.
talking about like actual fires.
Actual fires, 100. I love fires
Yeah.
of any kind.
We've been to your house several times, and you've got the wood thing in the back,
Yeah.
the campfire ring.
I have my little fire pit that I have on our back porch. I have I only do, for the most part, charcoal. We did like mess around a little bit with propane. There's no joy in that.
No, I'm not talking about your grill. I'm talking about your fire pit.
The fire pit, but I'm saying like I use a charcoal grill because I get to light that on.
You just like
big
things
fire.
burning.
I like burning things. When I was a kid, I almost burnt down my dad's wood shop.
Ah.
My dad is a woodworker. I mean, he's jack of all trades, right? But he has a wood shop, and I didn't realize that sawdust was ultra flammable. Did you know it was?
I don't think I did.
See, at 10 years old,
You don't think of those things.
My brain is not sophisticated beyond, I'm gonna say 12. All right. So at 10, I would say I was around the age of a 3-year-old mentally, and so when I got off the bus, I would get off the bus by myself because my brother was on the other bus because we were 3 years apart. So I was home by myself because my parents were still both at work when I would get home.
Yeah.
And I was too afraid to go in the house by myself.
But you could go in the garage.
Yes. I could enter the garage and go right into my dad's workshop and wait the 20 minutes until somebody got home because I didn't want to go into the house by myself. Which, to me, is ridiculous at this point.
I want to say something, but at the same time, there must be some sort of phobia
by all
that
means
you have that I don't want to make fun of.
Okay, so I at a young age, started watching, maybe without my parents knowing, a lot of like scary movies.
Nice.
And they terrified me, and so it made me afraid to be in the house alone. I had many, like just. Yeah.
Just dread would come over you.
Absolute dread. So I would wait out my dad's workshop, but my dad always had he would have a lighter out there for his he had a
So you were scared to go in the house, but you were not scared to play with a lighter in the garage.
No, I'm in control.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm in control.
Yeah.
I have the lighter in my hand. And so I would get this lighter, and my dad built his workbenches.
Okay.
Right? Made like really nice out of wood. And I put scorch marks all across with this lighter. I just burned things. Yeah.
Just for fun?
For fun.
Okay.
There
you
fun.
go.
He's like, Steve, why is there scorch marks all over this? I'm like, I don't know. And then I started lighting. Another time I lit, what's it called? Sawdust on fire. Woof! I had no idea how fast sawdust ignites.
You were 10. You didn't realize that sawdust was actually wood.
Well, sawdust is just a byproduct of wood, right? It's not wood itself.
Exactly.
I don't know what I thought it was, but yeah, I lit it and I saw it like go. Luckily, it wasn't near anything else. So yeah,
Nice.
I survived the day.
Nice.
I made it to 38, man.
So you definitely have
And
started
my dad's
fires.
made it to 67. It was his birthday yesterday.
Oh.
So yeah, things are.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, pops.
Yeah.
Yeah, get this. Yesterday, at my dad's birthday, his birthday was actually on Sunday, but I had the class. Then I ended up getting sick anyway, so we couldn't have gone over either way. But yesterday he says to me, Steve, you know what I heard on the radio? And I'm like, what, Dad? And he's like, Dave Matthews Band's coming in Pittsburgh again. I'm like, really? He's like, you want to go? I'm like, what?
Is this a new revelation?
My dad's never gone to see Dave Matthews with me.
Nice.
And he's like, you want to go this year? He's like, it's right after Father's Day. It'd be a fun thing we can do together. I'm like, yes, I do want to do that with you, Dad. So yeah, my dad
That's
and I
great.
are going to see the DMB.
Well, don't light anything on fire in his house.
I won't. He was really excited. I went out to the workshop yesterday, and he got a new radial arm saw, like a miter saw, like one of those ones that slides.
Yeah.
Really fancy.
See, this is why I asked that question, because it led into a nice
It led
conversation.
into way too much.
It's all good.
My pops, man.
It's all
He's a
good.
good dude.
All right, number 2.
Yes.
Who's washed their vehicle more?
Personally, or taking it through a car wash?
Personally.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
3, 2, 1.
Zach.
Steve.
Oh no,
I never wash my
I never wash my car.
I always take it through the thing.
Yeah.
That's not true. Back in the day, I would wash it more. Whenever
personally.
Whenever we get a new vehicle, if it's like new and we've only had it for a little while,
Yeah.
I wash it like every weekend.
Yeah.
But that hasn't been for a long time. But no, I've got this thing where I feel like I wash it and it gets dirty.
Yes.
I mean, that's not a thing. It's reality.
I got this thing where I wash it and then it gets dirty again.
I can't believe this happens to me.
I don't get it. Yeah, well, I understand the concept.
So I get so
things becoming
frustrated.
dirty.
So it's like, why even take the time to do it?
See, well, when I was even into my 20s, anytime I would go home, if my car was dirty, my dad would wash it.
Really?
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah. Oh, my dad
Very
is
particular about that.
okay. Let's. My dad is particular about everything.
Okay.
Everything.
So everything's very like his workshop's very neat and tidy.
He is everything. Like he is like, I don't know if you know the terminology Six Sigma. Like everything has a place and everything's in its place.
Yeah.
That's my pops.
Okay.
Like he never throws a box away for anything. Everything has its place. It's in its place, and it is pristine.
Oh, wow.
That's why he would always know if I touched his stuff. He's like, "Hey, Steve, that cap wasn't on there completely. You used my glue." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "I know you used my glue." I'm like,
oh wow.
I did. Yeah. Yeah, he knows. He knows.
Wow.
Yeah, you should see, like, even his rags. He has, like, rags for washing his cars.
Yeah.
They're, like, folded perfectly and stacked
Really?
perfectly. Yeah.
That's not me.
His garage.
I like my stuff neat, but I'm not to that level.
Yeah, so he also would when he cut the grass, he would change direction every time that he would cut it. So he would cut the grass 2 to 3 times a week in the summer.
Oh wow.
After he'd fertilized it multiple times, everything. Best yard in the neighborhood by far. The greenest and the most lush Kentucky bluegrass you've ever seen. Is that what it's called? Blue?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he would go diagonal one time, and then up and down, and then across, and then diagonal the other way the next time. And
Wow.
this yard
Was awesome.
perfect.
Nice.
Every single landscape perfect. And so cars, it drove him insane when I would show up with a dirty car, because Sarah and I didn't care.
Yeah.
It's not like, we're not slobs, but at the same time too, it's like it's not high on our priority list.
So wait, when you were married,
Yeah.
you'd show up to his house and he'd wash your car?
Yep.
No way.
Zach, I kid you not. I've showed up with my children, and he's out there washing his car. I come out, and he washed my car too, and waxed it.
Oh wow.
He's like, you need to take better care of your car. I'm like, Dad, thank you, but don't. He's also, he'll also come over to my house and look at my yard and say, like, hey, you gotta get out there and cut your grass. Like, I did. He's like, yeah, but it's already long again. I'm like, all right, Dad, we'll get to it next time, man.
We're touching on some stuff today. These are some biting.
Like I said, I'm not trying to, it's just funny. These past 2 questions have involved my father.
All right. Well, if this one involves your father as well, we have some issues going on here. It's like what's that ink blot test called? Like the
Rorschach.
Rorschach test.
Rorschach.
Everything comes back to a story.
Yeah, well, yeah, because everybody has a different interpretation of
Yes.
it. Yeah, mine keeps coming back to my father.
Yeah. Next one.
Good.
Who's done it more? Colored in a coloring book.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Zach.
Yeah, I don't.
So Laura likes to do those like adult coloring books.
Yeah.
So I'll do it one every once in a while. But it's funny because being silly with my kids and everything, no one would ever use the brown like pencils. We always do like the colored pencils.
Yeah.
The brown would never get used.
Yeah.
So I do this thing now where I only color in my coloring book in brown,
Yes.
in the shades of brown. So it's funny. So we'll color and I do the whole thing in brown. Like you can make this like the sepia tone, I guess, whatever.
Sepia tone? What? You did a wash over the thing?
Isn't that what you do with the brown? Is that what that brown means? I don't know.
Yeah, it's like a goldish brown,
Yeah,
yellowish brown. Yeah, that give you that old, aged look.
So I only color in shades of brown in my coloring books, but I do that. So I don't know if it was Father's Day or my birthday, they got me a set of like the pencils that are only brown.
It's all the browns.
It's all the browns.
It's all the different shades of brown.
Yes.
And that's what they got you.
That's what they got me.
Fantastic, Zach.
So I wouldn't say I color a lot in a coloring book, but every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Did you do the adult coloring books?
Get that itch. No, never.
This didn't make you think of your dad?
It did. It's weird. I think now I'm just in that mode.
It did not.
Yes, it did. Every year for my birthday growing up, my dad would make a banner that he would color, and it was, once again, perfect. I remember one year I had
you would enter in a coloring contest with the banner. Were you ever in a coloring contest?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I can't keep in the lines. I'm serious. I'm useless. I was useless as a child. My brother, artist.
Yeah.
Perfect artist. Me?
Nah.
Horrendous.
Yeah.
One Christmas, my mom asked my brother. I think I might have told the story before. My mom asked my brother because he's a very good like artist. He can draw anything very, very well and with great detail. And my grandma wanted my brother, because he was my grandmother's favorite, to make a flower image that she could put on her wall. And I pretended like I was offended. And so I made her one that I drew, and she hung it on her wall, and it was the best joke ever. Because I did it so bad I did it worse than I could have anyway, on purpose.
How old were you?
18.
So just like his little kid's drawing of a flower.
Well, it was my brother who was 15 at the time who did it very nice. And yes, it looked like the kid that is just has a balled up fist with a crayon in it, and just going back and forth, made this flower good enough where it looks like I tried.
Yeah.
And I'm just bad at it.
Yeah.
And she hung it up too. And
no, it's right next to the good one.
I died every single time because
she left it up there. She's
proud.
proud
Because she's like, oh, I didn't want to make you feel bad. I'm like, oh, this is so good. I love messing with my grandmother.
Oh man. All right, next one. Who's done it more? Rode a bike.
Okay. In a lifetime.
Yeah.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, Steve.
Yeah. I loved riding my bike. That
growing up.
Yeah, growing up in my neighborhood. That's all my friends were on different streets. We had this nice little neighborhood. It was real safe. There wasn't a lot of traffic or anything, so you could ride your bike anywhere.
Yeah.
Without worrying about it. So I rode my bike. That was your vehicle.
Yeah.
That was your life until I got my car eventually.
I rode a bike a lot too. We lived on a really long. Well, it was a road. But we were the only house that was on it. It was back in the country. And so we could get on our bikes and just ride up and down the road. There was no one around. There was Amish that lived on the road.
Yes.
And so we would get on our bikes and go down to, there was a creek that went through and a little bridge. We'd go down and play in the creek. And
nice.
And my brother would twice.
Chester.
Casey, but yes, we can call him Chester if you want to.
Chesty.
He biffed it twice going down the hill, and one time it was bad. He went face first down the hill on the gravel, and he was all tore up.
Dude.
Yeah, it was
that's
pretty
fantastic.
Bad.
Watching your little brother biff. There's nothing better than watching a little brother biff on.
I didn't see it.
You didn't see it?
No, I think this was when I was maybe in school and he was not quite in school yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So at our old house when we were learning how to ride our bikes. I'm 3 years older than my little brother, so I had already known how to ride my bike. He was learning how to ride his bike. And at our old house, we had, our yard, it had 3 trees in it. 3 trees. And they were way off the driveway too. It wasn't like you just run into it right off the driveway. You had to go 15 to 20 feet off the driveway to get to this tree. My brother is riding around on his bike. He gets out of control and is going straight for this tree. But it was one of those situations where you saw it happening for so long. There was no reason he couldn't turn away.
Yeah.
And he biffed it right into that tree.
And you thought that was pretty funny.
I laughed hysterically. Yes. He was probably 5 and I was probably 8, something like that. It was a good day.
It was one of the things where the tire's shaking. It's he's trying to stop it.
It was a good day,
He's he's vibrating back and forth.
It was a good day.
All right.
It was, my brother and I did not get along very well when we were little. I love, he and I now, best buddies. Back then, not so much.
Not so much. All All right, couple more here. Are we like at the 30-minute mark yet?
No.
No, we're
Doing good.
All right. Who's done it more?
Yes.
Cut the sleeves off a shirt.
Come on, dude. That is such a leading question, and you knew there was a story to that.
No, I don't.
You're so full of it.
Well, you don't know my answer.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, Zach.
Did you say Steve?
No, I said Zach.
Oh, okay. Because the story that I have, that only happened one time. But go ahead. I want to hear you.
No, I cut the sleeves off my shirts all the time. If they get too old, like I'll cut the sleeves off and just go like if I'm cutting grass or whatever, I always go with the sleeveless shirt in the summer.
Yeah.
And so the old T-shirts lose their sleeves pretty quickly. Like when I'd play basketball growing up, and you wouldn't wear sleeves at all doing that, so you'd always go for the sleeveless option. Yeah. But you have a story that you're dying to get out of.
You were there.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, I do remember that.
You were there, man. It was
I
me
do
and you.
Remember that.
We were at Zach.
That's right. It was a long sleeve shirt.
This is the dumbest thing ever. All right, so it was like, okay, so Zach and Laura and their family were moving.
I totally forgot about that.
And they moved. They went from their house that was in Bessemer to this farmhouse out in the middle of nowhere.
So what happened was we felt like we were called to move closer to the church.
Sure.
So, because we were getting into the ministry now and going to be here all the time. More involved, yeah. So we put our house on the market, and we were looking to buy one, okay? And we sold our house before we bought our new house, so we didn't have a place to stay. So thankfully we had a family member who rented out, they live in Wisconsin, and they have this old family farm, and there's like 2 houses on it that they rent out. Mm-hmm. And so one of them was empty, and we was like, hey, we don't have a place to stay. We were gonna like stay with my parents or something. Could we stay there until we find a place? And thankfully it all worked out. So we had to stay there for like 2 weeks. And so
how long you were there?
It was only like 2 weeks. So we had to move into that place and then move into our new house. So we moved twice in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But you helped.
I did.
And it was July.
It was July.
It was July.
And I wore a long sleeve shirt. Because I was my thought was, this will protect my arms when I'm like picking up like bigger items and stuff.
But it was July.
It was July, and it was like a 95-degree day. It was the dumbest move I ever made. I was sweating profusely, and I'm not like a big time sweater. I thought that day I was going to perspire, like literally perspire from the point of death. Yeah.
Oh, perspire? No, perspire and then perspire.
Those are 2 different words?
Doesn't one mean to die and one mean to like sweat?
I thought
expire. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing. I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
Perspire is to sweat, like perspiration. Never mind. Let's edit this part out.
There's no perspiration. I perspired. No, it's perspired. It means to like be like letting go.
Yeah.
Of.
Anyway.
We're not taking that out.
No, we're leaving that in.
Yeah, we're leaving that in. Anyway, so I'm dying. We're getting close to being done packing everything up. But I thought like I was gonna have a heat stroke. I was so hot, and so but I was embarrassed too because I knew it was a stupid move to have long sleeves on, and I didn't want to ask anybody. And so I find this in this farmhouse. I find these rusty scissors.
They probably used like shear sheep with.
They're like left over from easily the Civil War era. And I'm in a bathroom cutting my sleeves off to where I come out, I look like Bam Bam Bigelow. Like the sleeve, I couldn't cut it straight because they were so dull and rusted that I was barely getting through the shirt, the cotton shirt. And then the rest of the day I look like a moron because I cut my sleeves off. That was a joke for you guys for a while.
It wasn't.
You guys made fun of me for that.
I'd forgotten.
You thought about it. You brought it up multiple times.
Did I?
Yeah.
I'd honestly.
It didn't hurt my feelings. It was funny. It was stupid.
All right. Who's done it more? Wore slippers.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Zach.
Steve.
Oh no,
I'm not
I
a
rarely.
I'm
wear
not a slippers guy either.
Okay,
I never
don't,
wear them.
Too warm.
Yeah, I put them on, my feet start sweating, and it's the worst thing ever.
Yeah, I don't want to have to, cut the toes off of my slippers or something,
Like a slide.
Yeah, slides. I'm fine with slides, but that's not to me a slipper.
No, I'm not.
Slipper, I think of.
I thought maybe you put on like one of those. When you go to bed at night, you have like the fancy pajamas on, like the button-up pajamas and the fancy slippers.
So you think of me as a father in a 1950s sitcom,
exactly,
going to bed, and Sarah and I have our separate beds in the same room.
No, I don't think that much, but I'm thinking I don't know.
Good night,
darling.
Like
a professor or something going to bed.
A professor? Wait, so in your head, the only people that wear pajamas that are buttoned down are like they have these patches on their elbows.
On the elbows. The
Get
elbow
out
patch.
of town, Cyrus.
Yeah, that's you.
No way. No, I don't. No, I'm not a fan.
You're not a slipper guy.
No.
All right.
Or formal pajama fan. T-shirts, man. Formal pajamas.
All right. Two more. Yep. Who's done it more?
Yes.
Used power tools.
Okay.
3, 2, 1. Steve.
Yeah. I'm a power tool guy.
You're like Steve the tool man Mikulski.
I love working with tools. I love doing like anything that is that requires any kind of handiwork.
Yeah.
That's my thing. And that's not putting you down. I would just venture to guess that I've used a reciprocating saw.
Yeah, it's probably more than
10 times more than most guys.
You just go and cut things up.
I mean, there's been times, but no, I enjoy working with my hands. I mean, my job a lot of times is behind a desk, and so when I get the opportunity to work with my hands, I do it.
Yeah.
Yes. So yeah, but my DeWalt drill. That's like my sidearm.
You have it like in a holster.
I have an open carry. I don't conceal it. I have an open.
You go
carry
through
DeWalt
Lowe's
drill.
with attached to your hip.
Yeah, they're like, oh, this guy means business.
Yeah.
I actually have they sell these clips that you can attach to your drill so it hangs off your pocket.
You have one?
I do.
And you wear it?
Yes. Well, I'm not like on a daily basis, but when I'm working with it, so I can have it right on my hip.
Nice.
Pop it out.
I definitely am a power tools user.
Yes.
But when I growing up, it was my dad. He's a carpenter.
Yeah.
So like your dad washed your vehicles, my dad fixed all my
Father
stuff.
was Joseph.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah, he'd come over and he'd always be, like, hey, let's work on this.
Yeah.
All right. So,
Yep.
So yeah. I knew how to use them, but he always used them.
Yep.
So.
That was the same thing with me. My dad was always the same way.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be a power tools expert without my pops.
All right, last one. 3, 2, 1. I have to ask the question first.
Yeah, you do?
Who's done it more? Had a stroke and when they're trying to tell you something. Who's done it more? Used an umbrella.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Zach.
Steve.
No, not me.
I'm not an umbrella guy.
I only use umbrellas when I have to. Like when it's like a situation where I can't get my hair messed up.
That happens. You have hair again now.
I do have hair.
Which is a revelation that I don't know if the podcast community realizes.
The podcast community is the 12 people that come to our youth group. So yeah, they're there. They know. No, if I'm wearing a hat, I don't worry about an umbrella. Like the water's out of my eyes.
I think umbrellas are annoying. Unless
the
only time I use it is if I'm with my wife.
Yes.
So I will, the chivalrous thing to do as a husband. You go open the door with the umbrella. She's gonna be rolling her eyes. She's like, that doesn't happen. It doesn't normally, but sometimes it does.
Sometimes, yeah. No, I'll do the same thing every time, all the time.
And the other time I use an umbrella?
Yeah.
Golfing.
You use an umbrella when you're golfing?
Yeah, if it's
that
raining.
Must be really difficult to
like
swing.
a golf umbrella. Like a golf umbrella is a thing.
You swing it? You
no,
swing your club with the golf umbrella?
your golf bag has a spot to put the golf umbrella on. Golf umbrellas are big.
Yeah.
So
I know what a golf umbrella is.
So when it's raining,
yes,
then you just put it up so your clubs don't get wet. So you don't necessarily use it yourself.
It goes over your clubs.
Yeah, it's big enough so you can carry it with you if you want, but it's more, when you're carrying your clubs out there.
Are the clubs made out of some sort of like dissolvable
you don't
material?
really want them to get wet because they get slippery and like
Oh, like the handles.
The handles, yeah. So you have towels and stuff, but the old golf
God, what
umbrella.
kind of bag do you have where your handles are sticking out and like you
It's like inverted.
have an inverted bag?
Yeah, you
My
stick,
bag's inside out.
You stick the head of the club down in there and let the
Yeah,
handles.
I would love to see you be the guy with. Like, look at this guy. It's just all handles sticking out the. He doesn't know what club he's grabbing. You just go with it.
Yeah.
No matter what, I pull out my pitching wedge.
Whatever.
It's a driving situation.
You don't look like a fool. So like, yeah, I meant to do that.
I mean, this is who I am. This is who I am. Don't question me.
That was a fun game, Steve.
It was a fun game, man. I think we had a lot of. I mean, it's not educational,
No, not at all.
but it was enthralling.
Yeah.
Well, we are at the 30-minute mark.
Sounds good.
So we're halfway through the podcast. So when we come back,
Yeah.
we'll have our
Our
topic of the day.
Sounds good.
See you in a little bit.
Welcome back to Zach and Steve Have a Podcast. So we're getting into a topic today, something we haven't really touched that much on through the podcast through the years as we've been doing this podcast.
Through the years.
This is our second year, Stevie.
Zach, we haven't made it to our 1-year anniversary yet.
But this is 2023. We started in 2022.
Oh,
so,
okay. You said, yeah, I mean, that's good math.
Yeah.
That is
so it's
that
the second year.
is good math.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So, in church on Sunday, we had a new worship song, and
that was new?
it was new for us. It was the first time we did it. It was called
really?
Gratitude. Yeah.
I thought Laura had done that before.
No, I don't think so. I think it was the first time we did it up here.
Okay.
And it wasn't. It's a beautiful song because
I love gratitude.
the lyric makes you think that you're standing in the throne room of God, about to present something to Him, and what that would be like. And it's like, I have nothing to give to the King. This is the Creator of the universe, the one who's given me life,
Yes.
life eternal, and I'm coming before Him and offering Him something.
Yes.
And what can I give God? Like, I was talking to the students about this on Sunday morning after we did that song. I was tearing up because it hit me. Sometimes you sing a worship song and you really connect with it.
Yes.
And you get emotional. I was emotional, so I went down there and I started talking to them about it. I'm like, it's not like you're going to go up to God and say, hey, I've got this like very rare Pokemon card. Like, you're going to love this. Or this is my favorite baseball card from when I'm a kid. Like something that I have that I value. Not that I have value Pokemon cards, but I was trying to say
You have many valued Pokemon
say
cards.
something that they would like connect with, hopefully.
Yeah.
But like that's the thought. What do you offer God that's worthy of Him?
Yeah.
And the lyric is all I've got is that I can sing my heart out to you. That's all I can do is just give you what I've got.
Yes.
And so, and then the next lyric is, it's saying, come on, my soul, don't you get shy on me. Like this, you're standing before God and this is my big moment. Like, don't freak out now, but I'm about to perform before the Lord. And it just hit me like, yeah, what is it that we can give God? So I thought that'd be a good thing to talk about. We can talk about worship. We can talk about whatever our offering would be, but what do we give God? God gives us everything.
Yes.
What is our response then?
I mean, yeah. I mean, our response. I think what
We
you're
can
saying,
go all different kind of angles here. Talk about
oh my
all
goodness!
all
I mean,
different
when
things
you
we
talk
can
about, I made this mistake years ago. My very, very, very first message in the teen ministry was about worship, at a time where I didn't know what I was talking about.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, at that point, worship was what you did, with the music.
Yeah.
And then I tried to make it one message, and it was like it was the most convoluted.
It didn't.
It didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. And as I matured and came to understand, I mean, worship is all encompassing.
Yeah.
Anything that brings glory to God is worship.
Yeah.
We're honoring Him, we're glorifying Him, we're putting Him in the place that He deserves to be. He's on the throne, in heaven. Anything we do to honor Him. And that is through song. But I think that's the differentiation that we do have to make first and foremost. Because I think a lot of times worship, when people talk about worship, they're like, yeah, we did worship, and then we had a message. And it's like, well, The whole thing's worship. I mean, it's called
Yeah.
a worship service for that very reason. It's not called a worship service because you come and sing for a little bit, then you get a message.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
right. I think you're right. There has to be some sort of delineation or like determination of what exactly we're talking about when we
Yes.
say worship. Because that is the thought. Because even in church, we have a worship pastor.
Yep.
And the worship pastor, if you say, what's the worship pastor's job? Most people would say,
He's the music guy.
It's the band leader. You know, like
Band
that.
leader?
that,
Yeah, he's the guy that comes up with the songs.
right. And that's what he does. Like that's his job. But it's more than that. Worship is, like you said, it's giving your whole life to God. And I like to think of it, the response for what God does to us. What do we then give to God? And so, I mean, in the Bible, there's definitely stories of and examples of people writing and singing, words, music to God. David, right? Miriam did that. Was Moses's sister, right?
Yeah.
Well, I was like, wait a minute. Miriam. For a second, I had a brain fart. Who exactly was Miriam? Moses' sister, right? Whenever they crossed the Red Sea, she took the people and they, sang to God. It was a celebration of, hey, look what you did. I have to respond to this because you are great. I am not, but I want to show you how much I love you.
Yeah.
So it's an offering.
Yeah, and anything that is an offering to God is showing God that, like, okay, you are in the place that you say, like, I truly believe you are in the place that you say you are. Like, you are above all things. You are king of all things. And that's why I love about, let's talk about worship music specifically.
Okay, sure.
Right now, is I love when we come together as the church and we sing a worship song together. I mean, I feel like that's one of the closest moments we have to a true heaven on earth experience. Because, I mean, essentially this is what eternity is going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be us in the presence of God, praising God, and just the immense amount of joy from our hearts being just given over to him.
Yeah.
Just be given to him. And that's what happens during worship. I mean, you see that in the eyes of people. You see that, I mean, I've been part of the worship team for, I mean, pretty much since the beginning of...
I mean, you started as a worship director for the teens.
Yeah,
right?
for the teens, I was the worship leader for the teens for a while. Pastor Warren, when he first came on staff, he took me under his wing and mentored me a lot because he was the worship pastor at the time, and he just mentored me through it. And he gave me opportunity after opportunity after opportunity to be over the main side. He gave me opportunities to lead over on the main side when I was terrified. I mean, you're talking about like the gratitude, wanting to be up there.
Yeah.
And being absolutely horrified to
Yeah.
be in front of an audience of people instead of like focusing on that this is for the Lord.
Yeah.
But the older that I got and the more comfortable I got,
Yeah.
the easier it became to like look out into the congregation, out into the crowd, the community of believers, and see the joy that's being expressed on the faces of people, how people are just caught up in the worship of things. And it's a beautiful picture of eternity. Because it should be. Worship. It should be a selfless act. It's saying I'm denying myself and I'm giving it all to you.
Yeah.
And so I mean that's one of the big things that worship music plays into our lives. It gives us that opportunity to take the focus off of ourselves and point it towards God. But I think, I mean, it does raise the, be cautious of the worship music that you're consuming, because there is such a wide range of it now. And some of it is self-serving,
Yeah.
but not all of it. But
Yeah.
some of it is, and you gotta be cautious about that. Is it about me being served, or is it about me serving God?
Well,
that's
yeah. In worship, you can definitely get into that.
Yeah.
When we're talking about worship, we're talking about singing. Right now, we're talking about
We're
the
talking
singing.
about worship music specifically,
Yeah.
and singing, the singing aspect of worship.
Sure, a song that's easier to sing. It's got a nice melody. It's got a nice hook to it. Like those are not necessarily a better song, but it might allow us to I don't know, lose track of what's going on around us and be able to focus on God better because we identify with the song. But I don't even think it's so much which song it is. It's your heart, right?
Well, yeah, it's where your heart's at, and that's why my whole point was just encouraging people to think about the words that are being said.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Like when you're singing these words out, it's like you need to like cerebrally use your brain and think about understanding what's being.
Because
what's
think
being
about
said.
it, like when you're in the car and you're singing along to even a pop
Any song,
song,
sure.
sometimes you don't realize what you're even saying.
Oh,
you're
sure.
just singing along.
And I get in the habit of doing that too. Like if it's the worship song that I like that I've heard 300 times when I'm driving, I have no idea what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just humming along and it's like any other song.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not worshiping. That's just singing a song.
Yeah, it's just singing a song, and sometimes you're blind to what's actually being said in it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm just. I feel like I took like a very nice topic, and I'm like, but be careful.
No, but
I think you have to be wise about what you are saying.
And I think this is where my original point stems from. It's this idea in this song where you get this thought that, hey, you're standing before God and you realize, maybe even for the first time, that I'm standing before God while I'm singing.
Yeah.
Right? And it's what in the world can I even do? Maybe you start thinking, maybe my voice is terrible. I wish I could sing like this person because they have a more melodious or a better tone to their voice. I'm just making up words as we go here. I have no like musical talent, so this is hard for me to talk.
Melodious doesn't have like the word melodious has nothing to do with musical talent. It's just a word, buddy.
Yeah. Yeah,
I feel like I just publicly shamed you. I'm a jerk.
It's all good.
Go ahead.
I don't remember what I was talking about now.
You're talking about melodious.
No, just.
But you said like we can get caught up in what's going on around us and almost becoming self-aware and self-conscious so much that we're not We're not connecting fully with God as we're in the congregation.
Yeah, it's like you're worried what the other person's thinking. Maybe when you're speaking and singing, and with our teenagers, that's 100% what's going on. Nobody sings. You don't even want to like move your mouth a lot because you don't want the person next to you thinking, "Oh, he's singing."
I would say for the first time in a long time though, with our teens, when it comes to the singing aspect of our service, they are more engaged than they had been.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's a cycle.
Yeah.
I mean, it's similar to even what goes on the adult side. I've like, where there was like no expression to people expressing themselves more in their worship, which is great. But like, it's almost like there's like a cycle of cycle. I did a wave symbol that said cycle, so I'm not doing much better than you.
Yeah.
Maybe there is a gas leak in this office. But like, I think there's like a cycle to it. As people mature as believers, they become more comfortable because they see that it's nothing to.
Right. It's not what we sound like.
No, it has nothing to do with that.
No, it's just
the intentions of the heart.
Exactly. And I think what worship music does is it gives us words to say that maybe we just haven't thought of before, and ways to describe God or ways to describe how we're feeling when we should be worshiping God. And so I think that's what that particular lyric that we're talking about does. You're standing before God. I don't have anything to give him.
Yeah.
Okay, but the only thing I got that's fit for a king is this song that I'm about to sing, and it's not going to be good, but at least it's me doing it.
Yep.
And it's I'm going to give it my best, right?
Yep.
And and that makes me think, what does God want from me? Mm-hmm. What can I offer God? In the Old Testament, there was a whole like list of things, in the covenant law that they had offerings. This is what you needed to give to God in order to atone for your sin, in order to, if you were going to maybe have some sort of an agreement or something here, you need to do this. There was they had these rules set up.
Yep.
And offerings and such things. If you made this much money, you gave this. If you were poor, you gave this, right? And And so there was a blueprint. Now we just give our hearts to God, right?
Yes.
And it's like, what does that look like? And I not that I'm struggling with it, but it's like maybe people are like, what does it look like?
Sure. And I mean, I think it's just, we've talked about this before. In a consumer culture, it becomes hard to take the focus off the self and your experience instead of giving the praise to God and putting him where he deserves to be.
Yeah, and I think sometimes corporate worship might even be a hard place to do that.
It can be. I mean, especially if you're newer to the faith and you do feel self-conscious about what your voice sounds like or what your hand raised looks like.
If I raise my hands, what's the person next to me going to think?
I mean, and the cool thing about that is, I mean, we're showing complete surrender. I mean, the most vulnerable spot you could put yourself in is your arms raised and your eyes closed and worshiping the Lord. Like,
yeah, somebody come push you over.
You can't protect yourself. But that's what it's showing. It's like, God, I surrender completely to you right now. I mean, it's a show of obedience to God and trusting God. Like, I don't care what happens around me right now. And I feel like that's an expression that needs to become more commonplace again. I feel like there was a time where that was way more common. Yeah. And then it lost steam and it's building back up again. I'm not just talking about the teens. I'm saying just in general. Yeah. Like at least what we see here at our church. I see that that is on the rise again, more engagement as far as engagement between man and God. So, I mean, the singing aspect of the service, which is usually called worship, is not the only worship that is involved. When I think of worship, I mean, it's multifaceted. Prayer is a form of worship. I mean, we're honoring God through the words that we're saying. It's our awareness of his presence. That's acknowledging that we know he's there, he's near to us, that he can receive what we're saying, that he understands our hearts. That's a form of worship. I mean, maybe you kind of looked at me with the squinty eyes, so maybe you disagree.
No, I was just thinking.
Oh, you're thinking?
No, when I think, I wasn't thinking of prayer, but I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you, but that's not what had come top to my mind. I think of singing, and then I think of maybe like the tangible offering of money, like tithe. Are
you talking about just during service, or are you talking about in general?
Just in general. I'm talking about like what we offer to God, like an offering that we give. And I guess I just hadn't thought about prayer. Prayer is definitely one of them. But when I think of prayer,
I'm gonna blow your mind then, because I got a few more in the hopper here, buddy.
Yeah, but I think of prayer more as like the relationship part of it. But it is an offering, because it's an offering of our time. It's an offering of our surrendering who we are. In humbling ourselves before God.
Exactly.
Right?
It's showing that we are man and we are broken. He's God, and he's able to receive everything and care for us and love us. So, it's a form of worship.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right.
What else, Zach? You said giving.
Giving. Like,
giving of money, but also giving of time. Service is a form of worship.
Right. It's taking myself and not putting myself at the center.
Exactly.
And putting God at the center.
Exactly.
Right. And real quick, getting back to the singing part of it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I just thought of this. And feeling awkward when you're maybe raising your hands or wondering what your voice is saying. I think maybe it's even surrendering our pride before God. Mm-hmm. It's what other people think of us.
That's a good point.
And that's a way of also surrendering and worshiping God, saying, I guess I don't really care what other people think, because I love you more than that, right? And now I'm going to maybe raise my hand and feel weird about it, but I'm going to get over it because, you're worth it. If I say you're worthy of everything, but I'm afraid to raise my hand in front of people, like that's not telling you through my actions that you're worthy of that place in my life, right?
Yes.
It's saying, actually, I'm so scared that, I'm still putting what I desire at the heart because I'm too nervous to do this one thing. Mm-hmm. So looking at it in that perspective, that is a way of honoring God by getting rid of our pride in that moment and what we...
And trying to rid ourselves of pride.
Yeah, sure.
Like, getting ourselves into a habit of feeling that way, that we're not what we think we are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is important to be humbled by the very presence of God.
Just as an aside, what I think's funny, I think about sometimes, you think about the people that were martyred in the first century. And I think,
oh, this is a nice, fun little aside.
I think this is an aside. Yeah.
Hey, you know who was the first martyr? Stephen. Like, what is your problem right now? No, go ahead.
But I think if you would ask a Christian, they're like, if you were in had the option of giving up your life for Jesus, would you do it? Everyone would say, of course.
Absolutely.
I would totally do it. Okay, if you're standing in a room of people, would you raise your hand during worship? Nah, I ain't doing that. You know, like it's like we think like we'll do the big thing.
Yeah, we'll do the big thing.
We'll die.
Because the likelihood of that happening is not very high in the United States in 2023.
So you would rather die than raise your hand in worship, basically.
I mean, public speaking is the greatest fear above death.
Yeah.
Like, number one is public speaking. Number two is death. People would rather would prefer death to getting up in front of people and embarrassing themselves. So it does.
I guess it does go into that.
Coalesce.
Anyway, sorry, that was my side.
But no. But let's get back into this idea of how worship is all encompassing and is multifaceted. Because we've talked about the singing aspect of a service, talked about the giving aspect of the service, but giving is multifaceted in and of itself. Because like we said, I mean the giving. I mean the Bible calls us to give part of what we've been given to the glory of God. It's a sacrifice. Ultimately, it's a sacrifice. We're saying that this 10%, as my tithe, and then offering above and beyond that. Like, what else can I afford to give so that others might be blessed and that God might be glorified? But I think the greater asset that we have, and we've talked about this in the past, is our time.
Yeah.
Like, we're talking about something that could essentially be, we could have an infinite amount of money. I mean, theoretically.
Sure.
An infinite amount of money in this world, in this life. We could always have some money and something to give in that terms. We have a finite amount of time.
True.
We have no idea how much time we're ever going to have in this life. Like, I'm 38, and I could very easily live to be 80. Right? That's right around the average age of a man in 2023 or whatever, like living to 80. But it also could be tomorrow. Like, it could be walking. I could trip down those steps and smack my head off the counter and be gone. Like, it's I mean, and knowing my track record, that's a very real possibility. But the point is, like, any time that we give, I think is a great showing of like honoring God and worshiping God. Is because I'm giving my time to care for those who He's called me to care for. Who is that? My brothers and sisters in Christ, or people that don't know Christ. And it's an opportunity to evangelize and to do outreach and to get people to realize, man, like, the joy that I have within me can be experienced within you as well. Yeah. And so, doing like our mission trips and all that kind of stuff. That's another form of worship, because it's a dedication of our time. Yeah. I'm sacrificing, in that case, you and your wife, myself and Sarah and our families and our teens. We went to Pittsburgh last year, and we sacrificed 4 or 5 days.
Yeah.
For God. I mean, did we have some fun in there? Sure.
Yeah.
Anytime you spend with Zach and Steve is a fun time. Yeah. Right?
We have mission trips coming up here in the summer.
In the summer.
Yeah.
That was a joke. But we do have mission trips. The joke was anytime you're with Zach and Steve is a good time. That's not guaranteed. We have to say that for legality reasons. They said I was guaranteed a good time on this trip, and I did not have a good time. Anyway, but like our worship that's worship found within that, is like acknowledging within that. It's not like you could go and very easily not worship God in service.
Yeah.
If you're going just because you're obligated. Yeah. And it's like, well, at least I don't have to be home. Like it's all the intentionality of the heart.
Right.
But when you recognize it is a sacrifice, and you recognize that this is a blessing to other people, and you recognize this is glorifying God, it is worship.
Yeah. So
what are we doing with our time? Is a great question. We can worship God with our time. Are you doing it though?
Yeah.
Did you want to speak into that one at all, Zach?
No, I think, that's 100% right. That was one of the avenues that I wanted to talk about.
Good.
And I think you covered it perfectly. It just gets me back to, I think we know that, but do we do it?
Do we do it?
Do we want to do it? And do we realize just what it means to worship? Like to be, I just keep getting back to this picture of me standing before God and like realizing for the first time.
Yeah.
It's like the kid standing in front of the classroom, having to give this report, and he's practiced and he's never given one before. And he gets up there and he sees all the faces looking at him, or like you talking about, worship on the main side and getting up there and all the adults are over there. And it's like,
Staring at ya.
this is happening.
Yeah.
But just like before God, like you're in backstage waiting, and then they call you up and you go out there and the curtain opens up and there's the throne room, and you're like, oh, now it's time to worship God.
Veil's already been torn, Zach. There's no curtains.
Yeah, you're right.
There's no curtains in heaven.
You're right.
No, I'm just kidding. Could be. Who knows? God might be a curtain guy.
like a drapes instead of
He's
blinds.
like, I really like drapes. I really like drapes. It's the one thing you guys did. I really liked it. And we got drapes up here too. Don't know.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I don't think so. I've never really thought about heaven and curtains before.
God likes curtains.
No, but just that thought of, man. And then you can take that to every aspect of your life.
Yeah.
Wow, today I'm living for God. What does that look like? That's different than just saying it. It's actually thinking about what you're doing, or, I'm doing my job for God. Mm-hmm. It's different than just saying it and thinking, I'm not going to, I'm going to not use bad language on, I'm going to set myself apart that way, or I'm not going to, cheat on an hour off my paycheck or something. Like, that's honoring God. No, it's like living in the thought of, I am doing this for God.
Exactly.
And I think just having that mindset, I think, could be a healthy thing for us as Christians.
Well, I mean, that's what Paul talks about in Romans 12, as a living sacrifice. It's something that's like we are sacrificing what we want for God's desires, and that is our spiritual act of worship.
Yeah.
So anything that we sacrifice and dedicate to God is worship.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, like we could literally talk about anything that glorifies God and pretty much call it worship. Because I think of fellowship as another form of worship. I mean, maybe you disagree, but let me present my case.
Oh, I agree.
Oh, okay.
I'm just giving you that steely look.
Sometimes we have these pop filters in front of our face, and it's like, we're disguised a little bit. Like, all we can see is each other's eyebrows talking over. I have very expressive eyebrows. But no, fellowship is another form of worship. Why? Because we're coming together with the people. I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with what service is. In serving one another, it's caring for one another, it's building relationships with one another. What's one of the things that God desires for us? He wants his people to love one another. He wants us to look at each other and be like, oh man, I care about you, you care about me. And God's like, I created both of you.
Yeah.
And you like each other. That's great. And you're serving one another. That's honoring me.
Yeah.
Because he's created us with those desires, because we could easily self-serve and make it all about ourselves. But if we go out of our way to reach other people, reach out to other people, we're honoring God in that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think.
I thought you were like revving up to say something. I look over at you.
No. I think that's clear throughout Scripture that what God, it's not so much the physical act of whatever that religious thing that we're doing. That's not what he wants.
Sacrament.
Yeah, that's not what he wants. Like the fasting or the actual money. It's the heart behind it.
It's the heart behind. It's always
Right.
the intentionality.
Right, and there's a passage in Isaiah, I think it's Isaiah 58, where he talks about what a true fast is like. And he's like, God's saying through Isaiah, he's like, you guys, you come before me and you're not eating food and you think that's what I want. No, that's not what I want. Take that food and give it to people that are hungry, right? Yeah. And he's like, you come before me and you're so sad that you rip your clothes. Like, well, take that clothes and give it to somebody who doesn't got clothes. You're missing the whole point of what I'm saying when I love you. It's not just doing these things. It's that I love you. It's the heart that I've given you for my people.
Yes.
Yeah. It's not the
actions that matter.
To worship me, love me, and go love the people that I love, and that's honoring to me.
God does not expect a formula.
Yeah.
Like sometimes that's what we equate our actions to, is like a formula that will get the attention of God. And it's like, no, it's just where your heart's at. That's why people get freaked out about how should I pray? And it's like, well, how you should pray is how you pray.
Yeah.
Because the other way we honor God and worship God is through the reading and like us devouring His Word, allowing it to enter into our hearts, speaking His Word to other people. That's a form of worship as well, because out of the intentions of our heart, if it's to love and care for those around us, and it's to cherish like what He has done in our hearts, we're worshiping God once again. But if we're doing it just because like, I want to memorize the entire Bible, well, why?
Yeah.
Why do you want to memorize the entire Bible? Is it for self-serving purposes so you can tell other people that you memorize the entire Bible?
Yeah.
Or is it because you desire a nearness to God? Can those two things kind of coexist? Ish.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it with a selfish motive, like, look how smart I am. No. Back the trolley up. Think about what you're doing. So, yeah, I mean, worship is a very open-ended thing.
Yeah,
but I like what you said, though. It all boils down to the heart.
Yeah.
Where's my heart in it? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Why do I feel the way that I feel? Why am I the way that I am? Is it because of what God has done or because of what I want?
Right.
And if it's because of what God has done, worship. If it's because of what I want, not worship. It's
Yeah, I think that's... Yeah, like our relationship with God, even though we don't think of God as the big like ATM machine in the sky, we still do things that like, okay, if I do this maybe a little bit different, maybe I will get what I want out of God. Like maybe if I pray this prayer
I change
a little
the
bit,
formula.
Yes, maybe if I do it exactly this way, I'm going
wrong.
to get it. Yeah, or
maybe instead of Lord God, I say Father God.
Yeah,
that will get his attention this time.
Yeah.
No. Call him whatever. I mean, out of with respect and reverence, not like, hey, bro, what's up?
Yeah.
That's not going to...
Right.
I don't think that's God honoring. Will he still listen? Yeah, I mean, he knows your heart. If you're doing it because out of, like, you don't know any better, like, God's going to be like, okay, quit. You'll learn. But, yeah, I mean, it's our worship. I mean, the connection to God is what's most important. It's the intentionality of it all. So... Yeah, really, really fun thing. I mean, this is a very big topic. We could have spent weeks on this, but we decided not to now.
No, just a little bit.
We can't. We ruined it. No, we didn't. Zach, do you have any closing thoughts?
No, I think that was good. I enjoyed that conversation that we had.
Me too, man. That was very interesting. We have cheesecake waiting for us.
We do.
That Mary.
Yes.
Mary Stubridge, the preschool director at our church, is also a world-class chef.
And she made little cheesecakes for us.
She made vegan cheesecakes for us.
One looks raspberry and one looks mocha.
She said we're going to have to split them. They are bite-sized.
Yeah. They're shaped like hearts.
They are.
And they've been calling our name now for the past hour.
We're really excited about it.
It's time to log off.
We are going to say goodbye for now.
Yeah.
But hello again later.
Sounds good.
For Zach and Steve Have a Podcast, I'm Steve.
I'm Zach.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.